And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It is the main card. I am your man, The Voice. Joining me, as always, is my mano y mano, my verbal sparring partner, the man who always tries to match me in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But with his black and white hat, because he knew I was wearing my black and white St. Louis hat, Will Shrub.
To start off the show with all this hating is wild, nasty work, especially one day after International Everybody Loves Wilderness Day. It's crazy, but it's all good. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Smoke O'Clock and Voice is already starting. You see me constantly trying to bite my style. He constantly trying to beat me. Y'all see me every week.
So you had your hat on first today.
Absolutely,
that's what you're trying to tell me?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, but I knew I was wearing this hat since yesterday, so that's.
That's all.
And imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So
which is why I appreciate my OG imitating me, man. It just lets me know that the young bull is doing everything that he's supposed to do out here in this world. And you paying homage because it's the day after my birthday, so I get it. You know what I'm saying? But it's Smoke O'Clock, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the man who be cacawing, who be biting my style on a continued basis. The Voice. How you feeling outside all this hateration and holleration?
No hate, no holler, just going about getting it done.
So just continuation of the holleration and hateration. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we got an amazing show for y'all, man. We got a couple unretirements to talk about. We got a nice little ring walk here as we get into a deep wrestling weekend. But of course, we have your boxing and your MMA, the best of. This is what we do here at the main card. So as we always do, Voice, let's go ahead and get into it. KOs and low blows.
Let's do it.
Now, days after an announced UFC at the White House event was announced, of course, as expected, Jon Jones has announced that he has re-entered the UFC testing pool. This was actually provided by Dana White. Of course, not to be shown up, Tyson Fury is also returning. The irony in all of this is that both of these fighters are being considered to be ducking the counterparts that they probably would be considered facing. But many people believe in that Jon Jones is actually ducking Tom Aspinall, and that Tyson Fury may be ducking Usyk, who's actually just stated recently that he's going to be retiring soon also. So, Voice, what to make of these two giants of the combat sports world who are making their major comebacks right after making their announced retirement?
Well, I think what you should make the most of this is that it's banter, it's talk. Supposedly, Jon Jones has re-entered the testing pool. He very well may have because of, as you stated, the potential card at the White House, which we will talk about in our next segment. As far as Tyson Fury returning is concerned, that was just more of an offhanded comment. He said, I come back to fight the person that you said he's ducking, being Usyk. I don't think he's ducking him at all. That's the fight that he wants. The reason I believe he retired is because, look, I lost to the man twice, and the ability of the trilogy is like non-existent. So why fight when I can't fight for the title and there's not much else out there for me? There is something else out there for him, something else the boxing world would like to see, AJ. But it's not anything that he's currently jonesing for. With Jon Jones, again, he announced this primarily because of the possibility of fighting at the White House. Like, okay, hey, this is something which we talked about when he retired. He retired because he didn't have anything to do. He didn't really have a challenge. He didn't really have anything that was going to be to add to his lore or his legacy. Headlining a card at the White House checks that box. And that would be enough, not only for him to come back, but for him to also face Aspinall. And that would shut up the doubters as far as, oh, you're ducking. If he comes back to fight Aspinall because it's at the White House, it shows what most people know to be true, which is that Jon Jones is not afraid. He just doesn't, it's not enough of a challenge for him to get up and go through all of the death that you have to go through to prepare yourself to enter into the arena of combat.
Understandable. Now, before we move on to the next segment, I have to ask, is it possible that either one of these combat sports greats, boxing, MMA, is it possible that either one of these individuals are possibly tainting their legacy, maybe, so to speak?
If they both come back for the reasons that we just mentioned, no.
Oh, well, there you go. We'll have more news on that as more news comes up. Tyson Fury warned his promoter, actually announced that they were wanting to schedule a next bout with Usyk, who I believe Usyk actually has a bout coming up also.
Yeah,
Usyk says he only has like 1 or 2 fights left in him, so that's going to be interesting. And then, of course, Jon Jones, Dana White, I'm sure will keep us up to date, and we'll cover that here in KOs and low blows. Now, up next, Jake, days after losing to Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was arrested by ICE for drunk driving, illegal possession of weapons, an expired visa, illegal stay in the United States, and a request for an illegal stay. Now, it's been put out there right now that we don't know exactly where he's at or what's going on, as they stated that nothing else has been updated, but they're waiting to find out more on that. Now, in addition to the arrest warrant by the Mexico Attorney General Office, they're also stating that there's links to the cartel also. So, Voice, there's been so many responses to this. Many people are just completely upset about it and speaking to how this is putting a black eye on the sport. What are your thoughts on this?
It's not putting a black eye on the sport. How many boxers have been jailed for beating their wives and have been exposed wearing fishnet stockings and wigs? You know, I mean, and we're talking about some of the all-time greats here when we say this. You know, there's a law on the books now that got Diddy caught up. That was because of a boxer, Jack Johnson, transporting supposedly women across state lines for sexual purposes. They made up that law for him, so don't put a black eye on the sport at all. It's boxing. It's really all about what you do in the field of combat, not about what happens outside. You know, so many people, look at one of the most beloved people in the world right now. Mike Tyson was jailed for rape in the height of his prime physically. And again, the world loves him. So it doesn't do anything for boxing. What it does do, though, is raise a lot of questions about the politics in Nevada. This man was picked up, and you stated all of those charges. Those charges were prior to and what the warrant was for. So these things didn't just happen right after. This stuff happened quite some time ago, and in Mexico. It was stated by ICE that, oh yeah, we got him on the list, we're gonna get him. But they're like, okay, we're not gonna get him right before the fight. And then all of a sudden they get him after the fight. What's that about? It's about their money. That's what it's about. And the politics, or I should say, all signs point to the fact that it's about that money and those politics. There is no way in the world that with all of these charges he has, that Junior should have been permitted to fight, because he should not have been granted a visa to fight. If you're not a citizen of a country and you're going to participate in a fight, that's work. And if you're going to work, you got to have a visa. So many people like Shara Bullet can't get in because they can't get licensed. Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, Khabib's father, was never at any of his fights in the UFC until they were in the Middle East, because the US would not grant him a visa to enter the country to work the fight. So if Abdulmanap couldn't get a visa to come in and work. Because this man getting a visa to come in and not just be in the corner, but actually fight. Again, it was just a lot of question marks out there, and they all point to the money. While we're speaking about money and politics, we touched on it as the potential fight at the White House being why Jon Jones entered into the testing pool. It would definitely be a feather in the cap of Trump to do this during the 4th of July, weekend. But there's so many question marks from a logistical standpoint. He was talking about 20,000 people. How you gonna get 20,000 people outside around the White House and be safe? He couldn't be safe. Almost got shot twice. Once on his property there in Mar-a-Lago, or at least they caught somebody trying to shoot him there. And then we know of the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania in a much smaller area. How you gonna set up something, because you literally have to build a stadium to do it? So it's a great idea. It would take a lot of heavy lifting to pull off. Would it be worth it to celebrate the birth of a nation? There's so many question marks. I mean, I guess it would be okay, but again, it would be a lot of heavy lifting. And with all of the spending cuts and things that are going on, justifying doing an entertainment event of this magnitude, spending all that money when it's people who can't eat because SNAP benefits are being cut. I don't know. It gets real tricky.
It'll be interesting to see. I know I saw a lot of feedback, and a lot of people were taking it back when the announcement was first made. Many people kind of took it as tongue in cheek, and then there was another announcement after stating the date they were looking for and where they were wanting to do it on the White House lawn. Either way, it's gotten Jon Jones back into the UFC test pool, and a lot is going on with that. Going back to the Cesar Chavez Jr. ICE arrest. This was days after his loss to Jake Paul, which also Jake Paul officially come into the cruiserweight standings, so in rankings. So a lot going on in the world of boxing and MMA.
Yeah, and speaking of Jake Paul, what a wonderful segue into the ring walk, because your boy Jake Paul got banned from attending WWE events, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he did.
Why is he my boy?
Because it's pro wrestling. His brother's in pro wrestling.
And
you were rooting for him when he was fighting against Chavez. You told me yourself you ain't like Chavez.
Never said that.
Twitter. But anyway, yes, he's been banned. He cannot go to those events. Many people think that it is because of his associations with the PFL and his the war of words that has gone on between him and Dana White. And since it's a TKO property, they just have kicked him to the curb altogether. Although he's recently been seen talking to One Turkey Al-Sheikh, and if they get on the same page, if they mend fences, then it's possible that Jake can mend fences with TKO as a whole, and and some things can be a little different. But regardless of that, talking about TKO, talking about pro wrestling, talking about Logan's little brother, we have a PLE coming up this weekend, and it is one that is it's a landmark PLE. It should be a PLE that helps with shaping the future, because it is the second all-female PLE that has taken place. However, one Tommy Dreamer recently said that Trish Stratus, deserves more than a 2-week build to go after a world title. With poor ticket sales, like really poor ticket sales, it's being rumored that this event will be the last installment of Evolution. what's most to blame for what has the potential to be the biggest black eye at this time for the Triple H leadership era?
It just was thrown together. It feels very Vince McMahonish in many points. I know that's Voldemort, the name that we don't mention. It feels lazily put together. You have a number of different things that's going against them. Number one, of course, is happening in Atlanta. It's happening in Atlanta during the same weekend of the Beyonce concert, which, come on, like, we know what people are going to choose. On top of that, the card buildup has been horrible when you look at it. There's a number of bouts on the card. Some have had to build up, some haven't. When you look at the NXT, JC James versus Jordan Grace for the NXT Championship. That's for the NXT Women's Championship. Mm-hmm. That's been a great build-up. We're getting Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley again, barely with any build-up there also. More like just an announcement. The Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match was not really built up either. It was just a bunch of matches that were put together. Yeah, the Battle Royal for the World Championship. That woman gets a match at Clash in Paris. Then, of course, you have the Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus match, which, me personally, I don't know who's asked for this. Respectfully, I love Trish Stratus, but there are so many women on this roster who could have gotten an opportunity. And to put Trish Stratus in that position against Tiffany Stratton, a woman who's, if we're being honest, in many ways, her title reign has kind of been a little lackluster to some people as far as the competition, and she really has not gotten over well. You don't really know if she's a heel or a face in many ways. And I understand there's tweeners in many times, but this title run really didn't have any identity. You get Becky Lynch. The two matches I am looking forward to seeing are the triple threat match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. That's Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. That one's been building up for weeks also, but that's great. The big match to me, you already know. Jade Cargill versus Naomi in a no-holds-barred match. This has been going on for months. This has been festering for months. I will call my shot here and say that potentially we could see Naomi take that briefcase in the Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus match and cash it in and become the new WWE Women's Champion. If that does happen, that will probably be the best part of the show. But as great as the women's evolution has been, I believe that Triple H should be taking a page out of Shawn Michaels' book, because when you look at NXT's women's division, it's probably the best in professional wrestling today. And from their storylines to their build-up to how they transition between champions, it's second to none. I personally just feel like it's time for Shawn Michaels to come up to the main roster and probably take over for Triple H, but that's just me.
That's strong words, especially saying as Triple H is literally family when it comes to the leadership of TKO. For that, I mean, not that Vince hasn't done some things where he stepped down because he was about the money, ultimately, not necessarily his ego. He was willing to allow his ego to be bruised and be stomped on even for the dollar. I don't know if Triple H is built like that. And I don't know if Stephanie is willing to, well, you know what? No, she was sacrificed.
I'm not really sure how much any of the McMahon family is still involved in it. I would love to see Shane McMahon come back and be involved with it. I don't see that happening. But Triple H, for some of the good things that he's done, there's been too many missteps. From the tag team championships not being shown more. The tag team division is a great division. Seeing the Street Profits wrestle on SmackDown before a PLE when they should have been on it, and then we saw that great ladder match that all those people had. Seeing the New Day's latest title reign, the New Day feel like they've almost been relegated. You look at right now, something we're getting ready to talk about. Jey Uso losing his title just so Gunther could battle Goldberg is ridiculous.
You know what? Let's talk about that. Like I said, I'm coming for your neck when it comes to this, and this is the reason why I'm coming for your neck. Goldberg got a tremendous pop at Raw. Car pulled up, screeching. "Arr!" He jumps out. They going crazy. They screaming Goldberg. They screaming obscenities. I mean, they just going absolutely bananas for a nearly 60-year-old man who still has that cachet. Now, the internet, and you are internet, because we're on the internet right now. The internet and the pundits say nobody wants to see it. But it seems like, well, hold on. Give me space. It seems like at least the reaction to him coming, it seems like the fans feel differently. Where's the disconnect?
So one thing you got to understand too about WWE, and I hate to say this, they can pump in applause when they want to. We've seen it happen. Now, if you want to see an organic pop, you look at Jey Uso, you look at Cody Rhodes. I don't believe that was organic. Nobody really wants to see Goldberg come in and wrestle a 3-minute match and say you're next. First of all, it doesn't add up. So if we go back to this, right? Jey Uso lost his title to Gunther after making him tap out. Then all of a sudden now he can't do it. So you're telling me that Gunther all of a sudden is a man who's fearful of everyone because now he's running out of the ring from Goldberg. I just feel like this is a waste when you have so much great talent on the roster who should be in championship matches right now. Sami Zayn should be a world champion. Him and Gunther, their program was great. You got Karrion Kross out there. Jey Uso is still out there. There's a number of people out there. This is a retirement match for Goldberg. I guarantee you if Goldberg were to win, nobody's going to be excited about it. He may even get booed. And when I think about this, I think about Goldberg going up against Bray Wyatt. Shout out to Bray Wyatt. I think about Goldberg going up against Bray Wyatt and taking the title off of him, and it was pointless. These nostalgia comebacks are great sometimes, but when you have such a great product and you have a number of individuals who can truly fight for the world champion, for the world heavyweight championship, you don't waste it on something like this. This is not it. Yes, I am a hater. Now, if you know anything about Goldberg, you know about my love for Bret Hart. I'm a Goldberg hater, okay? If you can superimpose my face right now with Bret Hart, you can see that my hate runs as deep for him as Bret Hart does, okay? Not because he's a bad person. I don't know if he's a bad person or not, but he's not entertaining, and he's taken a number of opportunities from other individuals for nostalgia purposes and for 3 seconds of cheering. Okay. I don't want to see this.
Well,
this is the most passionate you're going to see me on the main card.
Well, let me say this. You've made it clear that you don't want to see it. I'm not convinced that the people don't want to see it, because I understand the whole pumping in of the cheers and things of that nature. But nobody made everybody stand on their feet when he came in. That was their own doing, and I get it. And I know you're saying it don't make a lot of sense. Here's what makes it make sense for me, outsider looking in. Right now, your man, who is also on his victory lap, John Cena, is off filming a movie. We got this spot where, Saturday Night Main Event, you can kind of do what you want to. It can stand alone with what happens. Let's pull them in one time, get a pop, get some viewership, get some eyes while John Cena is out, giving us a bridge to bring things back over when Cena gets done filming this movie. So
to your point, to counteract their point, right? That's a great point that you're making. But you can do that with Gunther versus someone of the likes of Sami Zayn. You can do that with Gunther versus the likes of someone like LA Knight. You can do it with a Randy Orton. There's Drew McIntyre just came back. There are a number of wrestlers right now who deserve that spot, who are not getting that spot for nostalgia purposes. Some of the things that WWE does, I really don't understand. I'm also hearing that Jelly Roll is going to have a spot on SummerSlam.
Yeah, on SummerSlam.
What, bro? You have a number of great wrestlers who deserve to be on a great card, and it's for what?
Let me tell you why it's there. It's there for the casuals. The hardcores like yourself, you're gonna tune in all the time. These big events are made to pull in people like myself who don't really watch it and would put their eyes on it and make the money. Your money, your PLE money and stuff, your subscriptions, that's already done. I might subscribe. I might tune in. I might drive up those Nielsen ratings because I love Jelly Roll and because I want to see Goldberg use his spear, which he don't think nobody else should be using except for Brown Breaker. But that's another story. And
you mean the same Goldberg who keeps injuring people with that spear? No.
It's time for the red light means it's time for us to stop and move on. So on the other side, we're going to talk about Ring 3 as well as Taylor Serrano.
I like how you controlled the red light and then you called it when you wanted to call it. That's bullying, but that's fine.
Well, you know, I don't believe that that's the case. I'm also looking at the time and I'm like, yeah, we need to go. So we're going to step out and step back. It's the main card.
It's not just about the love of the game. It's about dedication and commitment through the process and the patience to endure. There's joy in reaching your goals and peace in knowing you've done all you're supposed to do. Ozell brand. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.
Awesome. Welcome back. Shout out to the Ozell brand, man. Make sure you're going out there and getting them cleats for your babies, man. I know your babies need them cleats in all colors. Make sure you get your bags. Shout out to the Ozell brand. Make sure you get those. Visit the website also for that. Now, Voice, let's go ahead and light up the main card like you did with that red light a few moments ago. Now, we've got Friday night at the Garden. It's not just another fight, Voice. It's the fight. Third time's the charm or the reckoning. It's Taylor versus Serrano 3. Now, Madison Square Garden once again becomes a battleground where greatness meets legacy, and this time it's deeper, it's louder, and it's global. Most Valuable Promotions is running the table with an all-women's card on July 11th, streamed live on Netflix, and it's headlined by two names that define women's boxing in our era, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Now, the undisputed lightweight title is on the line, but that's not all at stake. They've danced twice before. First, back in April of 2022, it was an instant classic. Fight of the Year is named by Sports Illustrated. Split decision. Judges split, fans are split, but Katie Taylor stood tall. She did it again in the sequel, and so now here we are. We're getting part 3. And although there's a lot of fieriness here, it's not hate, it's respect, and it's a rivalry built on power, pace, and presence. Now, Amanda Serrano put it best. She said, rivalries make everything more exciting. We're just trying to prove who's the best fighter in the world and put on a great show. She's brought out the best in me, and I brought out the best in her. Now, Katie Taylor agrees, but she's clear. This isn't some choreographed moment for the cameras. She said, this isn't a marketing gimmick, and I think people are going to be shocked by what they see. This is monumental. And it is. These women aren't just fighting each other. They're fighting for boxing's future, for visibility, for equity, for respect. Now, Jake Paul, one of the event's architects, put the vision in plain terms. He said the goal for the all-women's card is to put the world on notice that women's boxing is just as entertaining as men's. This is the moment. So, yeah, Friday night's card is legacy, but it's also leverage. It's culture. It's shifting. It's proof of concept for the next generation of fighters who won't just ask for space. They're going to demand it. Now, Katie Taylor, of course, we know she's carried that mission since day one. She went to the International Olympic Committee to fight for boxing's inclusion to the games. That wasn't a photo op. It was real pressure. And then she said, I'm not just here fighting for myself, but for every female fighter that was more important than myself. So now with all this history in their gloves, one question is going to remain, Voice. And I'm going to throw it to you. Will Katie Taylor close the book on boxing's best trilogy? Or is Amanda Serrano ready to flip the script and rewrite that ending in boldface under the lights of MSG?
That depends primarily on what Serrano does. And I say that because on paper, Serrano has lost each of the fights. When you have a game plan that's been successful, it's not much that you need to change being Katie Taylor. It's Serrano who has to change, because one of the stats that really jumps out and that's been talked about by Serrano's camp a lot is the fact that she being the real deal, Amanda Serrano landed 107 more punches than Katie Taylor, but she lost. What made things dangerous and really outside looking in, to me, Serrano won the second fight. First fight was really close. It was a toss-up. It could go either way. I wasn't mad that it went to Taylor because, and I have to rewatch it. A lot of people said that Serrano was landing the harder shots. To me, I didn't remember that. I remember her landing a lot of shots, but them not doing much, where it seemed to me as if the shots that Taylor landed had more impact, which is why I was okay with them giving that first fight to her. But if Serrano can land not just double digits, not just dozens of punches more, over 100 punches more than Taylor and lose, she's got to do something different. One of the things that she can do is focus on going to the body to break down Taylor a bit more so that she may be able to get that stop. She's got the power. She's got the pop. The most significant strike in that second fight was when Serrano caught her with that left hook and staggered Katie Taylor. For both of these women, there's a lot on the line. Well, let me take that back. For Serrano, there's a lot on the line. For Katie Taylor, nothing is really on the line except the money that she's going to make, because I could see her calling it a day after this fight. Whereas for Serrano, only maybe having another fight as well, this can be, because I think her story is pretty much written, being Amanda Serrano, especially with fighting at the numerous different weight classes that she's fought at and gaining titles at those weight classes, really being a trailblazer. But this could be the defining moment, the zenith, the apex, to borrow some UFC terminology. This could be the it moment for Serrano. Will it be? We'll find out when they face off in the squared circle.
It's definitely a big match, and it's a lot of note when you think about what Amanda Serrano has done. But if you look at this, I mean, before her split decision loss to Katie Taylor in 2022, Amanda Serrano had not tasted defeat in 10 years. And that loss was I believe, a split decision defeat also in her 15th or 16th fight. So it's going to be interesting to see. Make sure that y'all following The Voice for updates on that. I'm sure he's going to score the card, and if there's anything significant, we'll definitely be sure to cover it on the main card. But that's not it, Voice. I got 7 words for you. Queens, New York, Louis Armstrong Stadium, Saturday night. Now, this one ain't just about belts, it's about receipts. Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda, undefeated against undefeated in a bout that feels more like a confession than a competition. It's a collision of frustration, reputation, and validation. And if you ask Shakur, he's been ready. He's been waiting. He's standing in Times Square like he wants to testify. He said, I've been calling this dude out for 3 years. They turned it down. It was all Oscar. So come Saturday night, I'm coming here to beat his, and I stand on that. Now, it's not really a pre-hype fight type feel. It's unfinished business with Oscar De La Hoya essentially ducking the wagers and dodging the smoke that Shakur Stevens offered. He told him to put money up. Oscar replied and said, you don't have enough money. But if money talks, Shakur made it clear he's speaking with fists come Saturday. Now, as far as Zepeda, he's calm, he's calculated, he's quietly confident. And he went on to state, he said, Shakur is going to bring his style that's very elusive. He had a fight plan that prepares me to be able to neutralize that. And he's not trash talking when he's saying that. He's actually building a blueprint for what he feels is elusive greatness. But it's a wild pressure cooker being shaped around this bout. Smaller ring rumors, courtesy of His Excellency Turkey, who made the warning voice, no more Tom and Jerry fights. You fight, you engage, period. Shakur's response, if you call me Jerry, then I'm whooping Tom's. That's how you answer the criticism, with clarity and confidence, something that people have been wanting to see from Shakur is that excitement. He's not backing down. He's more or less doubling down. Now, Shakur is undefeated. Zepeda's undefeated. Both got records that make promoters salivate. This is not about padding stats or anything like that. It's about settling scores. Shakur has already warned us ahead of the fight. William Zepeda is going to make me fight a lot more than a lot of other people. So I will have to fight. So, Voice, the question becomes, is Shakur Stevenson about to orchestrate a symphony of pain? Or is Zepeda going to rewrite the rhythm and walk out of Queens with that mic drop moment? Which I think it would be devastating to Shakur. What are your thoughts?
I agree that, well, let me not say I agree it would be devastating. Depending on how the fight goes, it could be devastating because Shakur does have his back against the ropes in a figurative way. His last two fights have been career defining in that they've painted him in a very unfavorable light. I mean, I can remember watching his fight against Edwin De Los Santos because it was around my birthday. I was in Chicago covering Bellator 301, and I rushed back from the weigh-ins to write my articles and get set up so I could watch this fight that was supposed to be everything, and it was nothing. And it was so very boring. And then to follow that up with a fight at home in Newark, New Jersey, Brick City. And if they had bricks in the audience, they'd have been throwing them into the ring because they start walking out mid-fight. Why? Because it was boring. So Shakur needs to do what he says. He says that Zepeda is going to force him to fight. He needs to fight. He said that the way that Zepeda keeps coming, that he's going to have to bring it. He's going to need to bring it. Here is really where the rubber meets the road, and a lot of the why behind Shakur and his recent performances. Like the great and also greatly hated fighter Floyd Money Mayweather, Shakur has brittle hands, and much of his low output and his defensive posturing has been because his hands were broken. His hands were hurt. Now, I didn't get a chance to see it, but in preparing just before, I was listening to Sean Porter's show, Salute to the Porter Way. And Sean Zattel, who is a part of that show, shared that in watching the open workout, when Shakur was taking his hands out the glove, he winced. So if it's possible that his hands are already hurting, all this belt to backside talk that he's talking, I don't know if he's going to be able to back that up. He needs to. He desperately needs to. You know, he said it's going to be a fight like Jamel Herring. He jacked Jamel Herring's face up and stopped Jamel Herring. He's going to have that kind of performance to erase everything else. We spoke about in KOs and Low Blows how, especially in boxing, it's all about what you're doing for me now. You could do so many or be accused of so much dastardly activity, but you get into the arena of combat and you perform at a great level, it makes people forget those things. Shakur is going to have to do that. And like you said, Zepeda is going to be in his face, coming forward. That's what he does. That's all he knows how to do. And Shakur keeps saying, I know I'm going to be forced to fight. Why does he know he's going to be forced to fight? They sparred before. So he knows very well. He has intimate knowledge of the man that is going to be standing across from him. Just this time, it won't be in headgear and 16-ounce gloves.
There's a lot on the line in this fight, and you've made some great points. I think about the fact that Shakur Stevenson is a hop, skip, and a jump away from his home in Newark, and the fight is in Queens, so it's kind of like it's in his backyard. So it'll be interesting to see. A loss would kind of solidify what a lot of other fighters have said about him. So I'll be interested to see how this goes. But William Zepeda is no slouch. So make sure you all tune in. The Voice is going to have that covered also. So if you ain't agreeing with what the judges are saying, Voice may give you a slightly different perspective. Now, what we like to do here at the main card is we like to give you the steak and potatoes of it all. But of course, we got to give you a little sides, you know what I'm saying? Your little macaroni and cheese, your collard greens, whatever it is that you like in your desserts. That's what we like to call here at our final fights. These are the fights who did not make the main portion of the main card, but they're just as important. And there's things that you should look out for this weekend as you plan your fight itinerary. Boys, take it away.
One of the biggest fights that takes place this weekend is actually the headlining bout of Ring 3. We talked about Shakur versus Zepeda, but it's Berlanga and Chavez that are in the main event. And like Shakur, both of these men's backs are on the ropes and they need to bring it as well. Berlanga valiantly lost his O against Canelo. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen, but you know, he went out there and he did the best he could do. Then he got into all of this promotional back and forth with Oscar De La Hoya because he wasn't being really featured in his next fight. It was the last one on his deal. And he went off on Oscar, had a whole bag of props at the press conference regarding Oscar. Was throwing money at him and all that stuff. You have to watch it. I'm not going to repeat the things that were said, but he really needs to do something big. But Shiraz does too. Hamza Shiraz was being heralded as the next big fighter out of the UK, and his last fight at 160, that is. A lot of people think that he lost. Wrestling company included. It was like, watching that fight, I was like, yeah, he's got his first loss. And I was like, a draw? Again, follow the money and you understand why. So Shiraz is going to have to show and prove that he is everything that everyone thought. And Berlanga is going to have to show and prove that he is all this hype that he's talking, because he's talking like he's the man, talking like New York is the city, but Shiraz went around asking, who is Edgar Berlanga? And nobody could tell him who Edgar Berlanga was. So they both have a lot to bring, but that's not all. On that card, at MSG, because like you said, the other is in Queens, St. Louis Armstrong Stadium. You got Baumgartner back in action. First time in a couple years after the doping allegations. You got Savannah Marshall versus Shadeja Green. That was going to be the Voice of Marquee matchup if we had time. We just didn't have time. The Black Beast is headlining the card for the UFC in Nashville. Alberto Puello and Sabril Matias. That might be the fight of the night. It just depends on how things go. David Morrell is also fighting on this card. So you have, or he's fighting this weekend, I should say. So you got a lot of things, boxing and MMA wise, that are going on that we just didn't have time to cover. But we also have some wrestling things going on that we didn't have time to touch on. What's going on that side of the docket?
Definitely. Outside of WWE Evolution, WWE and TKO have a big weekend schedule. You have Saturday night's main event live in Atlanta. That the main event, of course, is Gunther versus Goldberg. But the card, to me, is amazing. You have LA Knight versus Seth Rollins in a singles match. Randy Orton versus the returning Drew McIntyre in a singles match. That's going to have world championship implications. And Solo Sikoa versus Jimmy Uso was recently added, a singles match for the WWE United States Championship. Would love to see Jimmy finally win that gold. Solo Sikoa's MFT, which is his My Family Tree. That's what his new bloodline is being called. Then on that Sunday, you have WWE Great American Bash with NXT, which never misses. You have Obafemi versus Namura in the singles match in the main event for the NXT Championship. Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe, formerly Mariah Man of AEW, versus Fatal Influence in a tag team match. So Ruka is going to be facing Izzy Dame. That's going to be for the NXT Women's North American Championship. My match that I'm looking forward to, Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints. Falls Count Anywhere, NXT North American Championship. And then, of course, Javon Evans, everybody's favorite bouncy young OG versus Jasper Troy, who's come up from WWE LFG and has set NXT on fire. An amazing big man. His match against Obafemi was amazing also. Also, if you're into AEW, they have a huge card coming up this weekend. AEW All In. You get to see Hangman Adam Page versus John Moxley for that World Championship. And then you also get Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné, the Boss, looking to add to her belt collection. That's going to be for the AEW Women's Championship match. So you got so many things that you can take part in. Boxing, MMA, professional wrestling. We just here to give you all the breakdown. Make sure that you're following us to make sure I'll be sharing things on TikTok. Voice will be sharing things on X, Twitter also. So make sure that you all follow us. We want to thank you all for constantly tuning in with us. The main card, MTMV Sports. It's what we do. We're the fans. We love everything that we do about it, and we just want to share our love with you. We got everything that you're looking for from basketball. You have the full 94. Shout out to Not the Same Podcast. Pretty Girls Love Sports. You have Timeout. I ain't gonna miss your voice. You got HBCU. You know what I'm saying? You got Sports Talk with C. We have everything it is that you're looking for. Shout out to Will Smith, man. The Red and Bold also. This is who we are. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, man. We're sharing everything on NBA, WNBA in our shorts. Our YouTube page is growing. Thanks to you all. If you can't follow these beautiful faces on YouTube, take us where you listen to your podcast. We're on all your podcasts also. Thank you all for tuning in with us every week and for your support, your comments, not so good comments because the smoke o'clock there also. Thank y'all for tuning in another week. Voice, take us out.
Until next time, fight the good fight.
What's going on, family? It's your man, Wildress.
And it's your man, the myth, the legend, the voice.
And you just finished watching the main card on the MTMV network.
Yeah, for more great shows just like this, smash the subscribe button and keep fighting the good fight.